This is 94.3 Radio 1, One World, your station. Well, the boys from Parikrama join us tonight to celebrate rock and specifically celebrate Indian rock. Seeing as they've been the premier rock and roll export from India, they've taken their unique sound to the mecca of rock and roll, which is the IRock Festival. And if you're a fan, you would know and love, of course, their signature hits. One of them, of course, is But It Rained. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
To be here.
You've been asked this, I'm quite sure, many times over, but here you are sitting 31 years later since Parikrama formed. What is it that keeps you guys together?
I think the best part would be, Erica, that, when anyone says 31 years, it actually doesn't seem like 31 years. It just seems that we just started, So probably that is the best answer, that we don't, anyone asks us that, oh, it's been so long and, so we say, yeah, pata hi nahi chalta. I mean, we don't even know. I mean, it's as probably fresh. We have the same fun. We pull each other's legs and still go and have a great time outside. And, probably that's the thing. And of course, the cliched answers like love of music and XYZ. I think the best thing would be probably the fun that we have. The day we stop having that fun, I don't think so that, we'll be able to stick around together. That's my take. I mean, anyone else, yeah.
I think
pretty much.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Because I think I've been with the band now for like 15 years, but I recently realized, but it really doesn't feel like it's been 15 years at all. So yeah.
All right. Well, you guys are doing a fantastic job. To the Gen Z who would like to get to know you better, guys, a line of introduction about the band members. Who does want to take this?
Subir, of course.
I'll take that's Nitin. He's a founder member and the vocalist, so he's been around with the band for almost 31 years. Srijan, the drummer, as he just told you, been around also for a long time. Same with Gaurav Balani, the bass player. And Saurabh is the guitar player for almost, I think, 20 years. He's not in this interview, unfortunately, today. And then we have the brand new entry, that is Abhishek Mittal, who's the guitar player.
Right.
And he's come in. And of course, Sonam was a guitar player with whom we formed the band. Unfortunately, he passed on 14th of February 2020, but will always remain a part of the lineup.
I was going to come to that. I mean, how does one really get over that? And how does one take things forward? And how does one keep the band together?
Yeah, so it took time, though. I still remember that Abhishek has just joined in.
Hey, Abhishek.
Hello.
He's the latest member of the band. That's why he's almost 5-7 minutes late. He still has to get used to Okay, so yeah, so essentially I went for the cremation and we all were pretty taken aback that time. And this was 14th of Feb, 15th we had gone to Kalimpong. So it was just that, when we were coming back, the flight was delayed for 3-4 hours. And we, of course, never got the time as a band to speak because it was just me and I think Srijan who made it to Kalimpong. And the flight was delayed by about 3-4 hours. So, I was sitting there and then I just called each one individually and said, listen, it's happened and I don't think so it'll make any sense that, that we don't carry on the thing, because it was and still is very, very difficult for the band. But yeah, we spoke to everybody individually and we said that whatever it is, we're going to carry on in rock and roll, because and I'm sure that that's how Sonam would have wanted. And yeah, everybody was in and we lined up a good amount of shows in March, and then unfortunately COVID happened.
Right. So, taking it back a little bit, what has not changed about the way you guys do things? And importantly, what has changed with the way you do things?
I think as Subir pointed out, the fact that, it's always fun, like after the show finishes, like everybody meets together and we unwind together, like after, preparing for such a long time. Each and every show, there's a lot of energy that goes into preparing, each and every concert and putting up a great show. After that, everybody just wants to chill and hang out with each other. So I think that's one great quality about the band that hasn't changed ever since I've been a part of the band. And I'm sure that was the same, like, before the band even started. And I think what may have changed is probably just the fact that, there's a lot more of an open attitude towards accepting things, because obviously the industry also keeps evolving. I mean, every few months there's a new algorithm that you have to kind of get used to. So I think the band has done a great job of, kind of overcoming that. And I mean, for the lack of a better term, staying relevant, because obviously that is sadly the state of the industry right now. It's not just about the talent. It's not just about, the music you're putting out. There's so many other factors that, play out how a band and your own sort of future shapes up.
Right.
So yeah, I think the band's done a great job of that as well.
Well, you guys are known for your, calling yourself a live rock band, and therefore, didn't want to put out an album. Has that changed at all?
This is a answer that a question that we get where, and I've of course done a whole. So essentially, Erica, what happened is that when in the 90s, we actually, it's not that we didn't want to put an album, but we were a little different, probably that rebellious rock and roll attitude, listening to Jim Morrison and all that kind of stuff. So we wanted to do things that were coming to our heart and not what everybody was doing. So bands were recording their albums, selling CD for $500 and stuff like that and all. But we thought that what is the reach of that? Because we kind of, I don't know how we came up that there are 3-4% of us in India who speak in English way back then, and then how many of them will be actually listening to music, then rock music, then Indian rock music. So we probably thought that the market is very, very less, and instead of restricting our music to be heard, we came up with the thing, and we used to carry our CDs and all, they give it out for free. Every show we gave out hundreds of CDs and tapes, and when the net came, then we were the first people to have a website, and those were the Napster and Metallica war times, and piracy was a taboo subject, but our website read hugely, "We believe in piracy," and
of our music.
and we just thought of our own music. So we always told our fans, come bootleg our music, just pass it on to people. So those times are very different than today's time when you can do it so easily. So that's how our main market was colleges. So our music started being pirated and onto from tapes to then to CDs. Now between, let's say, IITs and IIMs, and people would listen to it and call us back for shows. So it worked very well for us, because it was like when you go for a movie, you see the trailer for free, and then you pay for the movie, and that's how we did. So we gave them the music for free, and then they called us for shows, and we kept increasing our fees, and that's how it worked out for us. But yeah, we always wanted to give out our music for free and don't charge any of our fans. So what has changed now, Eka? The second part of the question was basically, yes, we are, I don't know whether an album or not, but yes, we have the whole music business has changed. And now campuses and all hardly have English rock bands playing at all. So the only way to reach to that generation and stuff like that is by releasing our material,
Right.
You will not believe it. We have probably 100, 150 songs, probably 200 songs, if I look at all the done and not done. And we have probably till date 3 recorded songs, I think 4. Rest all pirated versions or whatever roaming around, stuff like that. So yeah, we are changing track. Coming months after the season, you will surely be hearing many, many more releases from Parikrama, new ones, and including a lot of our old ones are still not recorded. Songs like Vaporize, Am I Dreaming, Open Skies, you name it, we've never recorded them.
Right. Oh my gosh. So clearly there's lots of work for you guys to do going forward. But let's bring it to today. And you've got, Mahindra Independence Rock, and the rock scene has evolved dramatically. Like you said, we now have rock, being sung in multiple languages. There's psychedelic rock. There's, all kinds of wonderful sounds coming across the length and breadth of India, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. So would one of you guys like to take this question and, share with us what, what do you feel about the state of Indian rock today?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right that there has been, I think maybe 10 years ago, Indian rock was at its peak at what the scene used to be. And I'm saying scene in double quotes because there was a very weird scene. But I think we saw a dip in rock music in the past, maybe 5, 7, 10 years, because of popular music coming in as hip hop or as alternative music, and a lot more dance, pop, EDM, electronic music as well. That being said, I do feel that rock music in general around the world is on a resurgence, and that might, I don't know why, but you can see it from the Billboard top 40s, because you have like these weird small punk rock songs. You have people doing all sorts of different rock inspired things coming up now. So I think it is going to be there coming up once again, and all of these things are cyclical. So I think they will come back. From the context of Indian rock music, I think the good part is that it never left to a big deal. Of course, I mean, popular music, I don't think rock music was ever considered a part of popular music in that sense,
True, very true.
even in the Indian context. But there is a small yet dedicated following for rock music, and specifically Indian rock music, which I don't think is going anywhere.
Yeah. Well, if you're looking at the lineup, you've got 10 fantastic bands lined up to play. You guys will be headlining one of the days as well. Let's bring it to you, Abhishek. Your comments on the bands that will be playing over the weekend, 5th and 6th. You've got, everyone from, Pentagram to Zero to Avial to a whole bunch of others. Your comments.
So hi, firstly, sorry I got late. And
You got
I
what?
personally
Finally?
yes, I
Acha, late.
personally,
Sorry, I misheard. Sorry. Yeah, continue, please.
Mr. N. Okay, so I've personally grown up listening to these bands, and like getting to share a stage with them, and headlining with
Can I just
Parikrama.
button? Is he the youngest?
Yeah,
Oh,
he's the new
yes.
entry, as I just told you. He's just come in and he's the younger. That's why he keeps smiling. He still has to get used to it. They have to still pull his leg and his inception into the what? Yeah, inception mode. No, wrong word. But whatever his coming
Induction.
into the band is still due. That is by biting his nose, and that's how you were welcomed in Parikrama. And giving out all the dirty secrets. He's as it is thinking of leaving the band now.
Oh! All right, Abhishek, it's over to you.
So I mean, I've personally grown up listening to these bands, and the reason why I started playing the guitar was because I was very much inspired by rock music, bands like Iron Maiden, Metallica, and then like that whole sound coming together at this festival. I mean, it's
Parikrama bhi
my
bol de.
first time.
Parikrama bhi bol de. Grown up listening to Parikrama, say that also. You're still growing up.
Yes. I mean, from that phase to November in 2022, when I'm getting to share stage with all of these artists,
Yeah.
it's definitely something that I'm very, very grateful for.
Yeah.
And, I've always, as a kid, I've always like looked up to, playing with bands that rock. And there was this movie that I, really enjoyed and that really inspired me. It was a Jack Black movie. It's called School of Rock. So that really like inspired me into the whole rock and roll era.
Right.
And those like guitar phases and face melting solos, stuff like that. And we kind of have all of that thing in Parikrama. So I'm very, very grateful to everyone in the band that, they chose me, and whatever goofiness I bring onto the stage, they just like accept me with open arms.
Good, big shoes to fill, but yeah, Abhishek is a great guitar player, and that's what we do in the band. We normally probably one of the reasons of our longevity is also that when we are getting in a new member, we first don't see how good of a guitar player he is or a bass player or whatever. We see how good the person is. If the person is 90 and guitar player is 60, rest we say, okay, ho jayega. If it's other way around, he will come, if the bad guy, he will come, spoil everything and leave in 6 months. And, so that's been the purpose, though we've never had too many lineup changes in the last 31 years. But that's a compliment to you, Mr. Mitchell, that you're a great guy and a good guitar
And
player.
an average player. Balani. So Subir just indirectly told Gaurav and Abhishek that they're great people, but yeah, you could practice a little more. That's what you said.
Oh, nice one. Nice one, Abhishek. I should do that as well. Hang on. So coming to you, Nitin.
I was just taking the first question they said about all the band, you know, I mean, for us, it's very special because we are sharing the stage again with a lot of these bands who we have played at Rang Bhavan in the original independent rock era. And so it's like, you know, it's like a homecoming. And we were just talking the other day that we hope we were playing both days so we could be on stage with all of them together. Because, you know, Pentagram, in fact, Pentagram, I remember 96 or 97 had come to Delhi while going to IIT Kanpur, and we had taken all of them for a treat to Jama Masjid. And, you know, I mean, we had great times. And we came for the first time to IRock, and they took us to Leopold for the first time. I still remember in 98, I think. So,
Nice. Okay.
friendship, yeah, there, Warren, this thing, all thing, Avial. I mean, I think Avial's first show ever was for a festival in Delhi, this thing, and they played just before us, and we were totally blown over. And though we didn't understand a single word, because
But that's the magic of it, right? I mean, coming to you, Nitin,
Exactly.
so, you know, being part of the independence rock scenario, I should say, or the scene all those many years ago. And then it's actually had, I think, a 9-year break, and now it comes back again. You know, any special moments, any special memories that have stuck with you with regards to independence rock?
Oh, yes, I was hoping you'd ask me that. Now, what happens is, the earlier where it used to happen at Rang Bhavan, there was the stage and there was a very small pit, like very short, and then the crowd is just right there. I mean, you can actually read their lips if they're bad mouthing you. They're that close, but you can't hear them because the music is too loud and the sound on stage is too loud. So, during I'll try to make it as short as possible, but it's a very funny incident. So, what happened was during one of the songs, Subir, for that matter, decided to take over the crowd surfing duties, and he just, because I think it was not his part, the keyboard part was not there to be played, so he just went in, jumped into the crowd. And so the crowd kind of carried him around, and then they tried to get him back on stage because his part was about to come. And there were cops standing there who thought there's a member of the audience who's trying to come back on stage, because all this while the security people had their backs towards the stage and they were looking at the audience.
Right.
So they really didn't know who's on stage and so who's trying to come back. And they did not let him come back on stage to play.
No,
And so
that was Joji George. Joji George stopped me.
Oh my God, that's a name that I know. And if he's listening in, Joji George, we go a long way.
So Joji stopped me, and I had to actually then remove my hair and tell him, listen, I'm Subir, so let me go. And then, of course, I missed the part, but yeah. But there were so many instances like that for IRock, so unlimited, you know, fun we had. And the non-AC green room, Rang Bhavan was probably for us the absolute soul I mean, I don't think so we can love any venue more than Rang Bhavan in our lives, you know, and especially in Bombay, because, you know, because it had that history, it had that
Oh my gosh, insane.
And stuff like that.
So over to you, Gaurav. Can you give us a sneak peek as to what you guys will be playing? You know, what's in your playlist? What's on your repertoire?
Oh, there's a lot of exciting stuff. I'm pretty sure of the fact that, you know, actually there's a bit of a surprise that we want to keep for the audiences. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's being worked upon, and there's a little surprise that's going to come afterwards also. But I think it's not time to just give that away just yet. But in the coming weeks, we're going to be announcing that. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's being worked upon for the concert that's coming up.
Fantastic. So, you know, looking ahead to what's planned for you guys, you know, over the next couple of months and into the next year, what's in store for fans of Parikrama?
As I just said, Erika, we're going to be hitting the studio very soon, and we will be recording a lot of our older songs and a lot of new tunes as well, because, you know, our fans have been asking them for a little over 30 years. So, so, you know, I think it now, as things have changed, we are also changing track. We want the songs to reach out to our existing fans and the younger audiences and stuff like that. And so that is one major thing that we never believed in going to the studio. In fact, we hated the studio, probably collectively, not individually. But yeah, so we are changing track on that. That's going to be coming in. A lot of new videos are going to coming in. Parikrama is launching a new T-shirt, which is specially designed. Not designed, yeah, but we wanted it to be, the whole idea to launch that was for Independence Rock.
Okay. Well, that's fantastic. It's, new merch is always exciting for the fans.
Yeah.
Well, I have to wrap up and say I'm so excited to have you guys here in Mumbai City performing. It's going to be absolutely wild those 2 days, 5th and 6th of November. It's Mahendra Independence Rock. Looking forward to you guys. Yes, Abhishek, I know. Go for it.
Yeah. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much for connecting with us on 94.3
Thanks,
Radio
Anika.
1.
Thank you.
Yes, rock and
Thank
roll. See you guys.
you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
bye-bye.
94.3
One world, your station.
Radio 1.